A woman from India's Arunachal Pradesh state was allegedly harassed by Chinese immigration officials at the Shanghai Airport on November the 21st. The incident took place while she was transiting from London to Japan via Shanghai. The woman says she had transited through China just last month without any trouble. But this time, she was singled out at immigration and her passport was declared invalid because her place of birth is Arunachal Pradesh. The Indian woman says Chinese officials mocked her and insisted that, quote-unquote, Arunachal is China, adding that she was told to apply for a Chinese passport. She wasn't let go of for almost 18 hours and was denied boarding for her original flight to Japan. And her passport was allegedly kept from her without an explanation.
I am an Indian citizen residing in UK for about 14 years. And I was traveling on my holiday from London Gatwick to Japan via a transit in Shanghai. One of the officials from the Chinese immigration came over and singled me out of the queue, basically said, look, India, took my name and something and took me out. So I asked her what is happening, and she basically didn't say much and just basically asked me to follow her. Took me close to the e-gates where there is the immigration, the manual counters for the immigration. And then she went on to say, Arunachal, not India, China, your visa not acceptable, your basically passport is invalid.
She says she was left without food, without support and without a way to contact family for hours. The Indian national says staff shouted at her when she asked for updates, and even airline officials joined in, laughing and pointing at her passport and calling the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh part of China. Despite being nauseous and unwell, she says she was only given a dry biscuit and not allowed to buy food or leave the holding area.
Tried to question them and ask them what was the issue. They said Arunachal is not part of India, very clearly. And they said, you should apply, and started mocking and laughing and saying things like, you should apply for Chinese passport. You're Chinese, you're not Indian.
After hours of distress, a friend in the United Kingdom managed to reach the Indian Consulate and help finally arrived. The Indian woman said the consulate officials came to the airport, provided food and assistance, and helped her get clearance to China.
I called up the Shanghai and Beijing Indian embassies, and within an hour, very, very, helpful, in fact, and very glad that the Indian officials came to the airport, and then basically they got me some food and basically spoke through the issues with them and helped me get out of the country. So a very long ordeal, 18 hours, but glad that I'm out of there.
She was eventually put on a late-night flight, but only after buying a new ticket. Chinese authorities were careful not to place any stamp on her passport. The experience has left the Indian woman deeply shaken. She says her nationality was ridiculed and that she suffered both trauma and financial loss. She says she was looking forward to a holiday in Japan, but instead spent 18 hours in detention, lost her pre-booked hotel and flight expenses, and endured what she calls humiliating treatment. China baselessly claims India's Arunachal Pradesh as its own. It calls Arunachal Zangnan, which translates to South Tibet. New Delhi firmly rejects China's claims, calling them vain and preposterous. Internationally, the state is recognized as an integral part of India. The Indian woman says she held on to her Indian passport with pride, but this experience has made her question why China used her identity to mistreat her.
They promised glory. They delivered fear. They shaped nations. They scarred generations. From brutal purges to propaganda machines, from stolen power to violent falls from the throne. Welcome to The Dictator, a series that strips away the myth and then exposes the men behind the tyranny. History remembers their power. Firstpost reveals their truth.